Artificial intelligence, it's something more than half of Americans are using, not to mention companies using it for marketing. Legally, is that allowed? This afternoon, we have Russell Morgan with us to explain. Good afternoon. Thanks for being with us.
Good afternoon, Amanda. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, a lot of people are using AI, ChatGPT these days, but yeah, let's talk about the legality surrounding this. Can people sue saying I created something on AI and someone else is using it?
It's a valid question. The model for Chat GPT is trained on created works, and it's still unclear on what the legal precedent may be for reuse of their content if it was made from the intellectual property of other people. So the US Copyright Office has taken the view that any work that's autonomously made by an AI platform would not be protected under copyright law and has declined to register several works at this point. And the federal court has upheld the office's decision not to register the copyright.
Okay, so does that mean, people can just, create something and then somebody else can maybe use it to market something, make some money off of it?
At this point, there have been a couple of lawsuits on that topic specifically. For example, comedian Sarah Silverman and a couple of authors are suing Meta and OpenAI, the companies that are behind uh, ChatGPT, for allegedly using their content without permission to train chatbots. So essentially, at this point, they are fair game. So people are able to use this content because the courts have taken the position that autonomously created content is technically not copyright.
Okay, but what about, I feel like a lot of people are getting on ChatGPT, they're getting on, some kind of AI system, maybe putting some of their personal data in there. I mean, do we have concerns when it comes to using AI?
AI has some very serious privacy concerns. AI and machine learning can potentially compromise personal data privacy, raise concerns about data protection. People have to be extremely careful inputting sensitive client information into AI because it can lead to problems, data leaks in particular, and equally important, hackers that are tracking these AI software specifically for the purpose of stealing personal information.
Yeah, these people will find a way, won't they? They always know
Absolutely.
how to scam people. So, we're talking 53% of Americans, 77% of companies are, either using AI or at least exploring it. So, where do you see this going in the future?
Well, currently, most users are people who are playing around with AI tools. They're not using the content for commercial purposes at the moment, but as people start using AI tools to make money, then the original copyright holders can potentially sue them. So there is a huge market opening up in every sector in general, whether it's medicine, legal, commercial, where people are using AI. And I think it's going to take some time, number one, for people to get acclimated on how to use and incorporate AI in their businesses. And most importantly, for the law to catch up and there to be some legal precedent set down for people to enforce copyright for AI created content.
So it seems like people really need to kind of be careful at this point, if they don't want these things stolen and so on and so forth. What is your advice maybe to regular people in businesses out there who are kind of dabbling with AI?
At this point, the key word is dabble. Until we have some stability in the legal world with some cases that have actually laid out precedent, meaning people who have sued to enforce copyright infringement, where they've gotten some positive outcomes, I would limit AI use for the time being. It's still in preliminary stages, and rolling it out on a commercial basis where people are using it for retail purposes, number one, privacy concerns still have not been addressed. And that in itself can mean serious liability for the business owners. Number two, if we try to implement it for simple things like automation, the same concerns are coming from your clients that they may be paying for a service, for example, from an attorney or from an accountant, that they're paying a premium for, not for a AI software to prepare it for them.
Mm.
So at this point, our advice is until it stabilizes both in the legal world and in the practical world, just to be patient and allow the systems to work out the kinks to make sure that you can actually use it in your business, in your home, without concerns about liability, and equally important, so that if you're creating content using AI, you can actually enforce copyright and trademark to your content.
Great advice this afternoon. We're going to see where this thing goes. I have an idea. This is certainly not the end, only the beginning. So, Russell, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you, Amanda.
Yep, take care.